Hi friends, welcome back to 5 Minute Modern. My name is Cindy, and today we're discussing one of the most important photographs in American history, Dorothea Lange's Migrant Mother. In a recent video, I mentioned that I find Migrant Mother to be the greatest encapsulation of what Henri Cartier-Bresson termed the decisive moment, that split second when the composition of a photo aligns perfectly with its content. The iconic status of Migrant Mother makes it an interesting artwork to consider. I would wager that it's more widely reproduced than anything else we've covered on this channel. It's been recreated and riffed on repeatedly since its creation to comment on struggles with economic insecurity. And yet, while the image has been appropriated to speak to continuing issues of poverty and the difficulty of motherhood, it's also endured as the defining image of the Great Depression. Part of the reason the photo is so widely reproduced is that it's actually owned by the federal government and is in the public domain. Lange created it while working for the Farm Security Administration, or FSA. Lange had started her career in San Francisco as a studio photographer, known for intimate yet unconventional portraits. She was in her mid-30s when the Great Depression hit in 1929 and slowed her studio business. Troubled by the devastating toll the Depression took on her and her fellow Bay Area residents, Lange took to the street with her camera in 1933. The striking humanism of Lange's street photography caught the attention of Paul Taylor, a professor of agricultural economics at Berkeley, studying the difficult situation for migrant farm workers in California. In 1935, Taylor hired Lange to accompany him on his field studies for the Resettlement Administration, a New Deal agency created to address rural poverty, which was later renamed as the Farm Security Administration in 1937. Lange had been on a solo trip to document conditions throughout California for several weeks in 1936 when, finally on her way home, she noticed a sign for a pea pickers camp. Initially, Lange just drove on. She was tired and eager to return home. But she felt an irrepressible and inexplicable desire to turn around and go back to that pea pickers camp. Lange's visit to the camp was brief. She took only a handful of photos and made no notes, but one of those photos was Migrant Mother. The title, Migrant Mother, was added decades after the photo was taken. It was initially given a simple descriptive caption, "Destitute pea pickers in California, a 32-year-old mother of 7 children, February 1936. Though not the only photo Lange took of this mother, this is undeniably the most affecting. The turned heads of the children lend the photo universality, while the troubled expression and wrinkled brow of the mother silently voice her own personal experience of difficulty. I'm always struck by the way the image feels both firmly rooted in the specific time and place of rural California during the Great Depression, and also timeless in its expression of the powerful endurance of maternal love through unimaginable circumstances. The photo had an immediate impact. The camp where Lange had taken it was actually home to around 2,500 people, all stranded without work when rains damaged the pea crop. In response to Lange's photo, state agencies rushed emergency food aid to the camp, likely saving many from starvation. Roy Stryker, head of the FSA's photography division, cited it as the defining image produced by agency photographers. Quite a feat, considering Lange worked alongside such brilliant photographers as Walker Evans and Ben Shahn. The photo was first shown at the Museum of Modern Art in New York in 1940, and curators believe it has since been exhibited there more than any other photo in their collection. As if to prepare her photo for its transition from record of the moment to historical icon, Lange actually slightly retouched the photo in 1939. Her initial print had shown the mother's thumb resting against the tent poles, a detail which Lange found so distracting she had an assistant retouch the negative until the thumb was imperceptible. Stryker was horrified by Lange's actions, believing that a photo's strict authenticity was key to its value as an honest document. And I'll admit that I personally found Lange's retouching of the photo a little off-putting. I was reminded of Susan Sontag's book Regarding the Pain of Others, in which she writes about the disappointment one feels in learning that photos involving love and death, those extremes of human experience, were actually staged by the photographer rather than captured spontaneously. And I think that gets at why I was so caught off guard by Lange's retouching. To learn that a lovely landscape photo or a beautiful portrait had been retouched wouldn't be surprising or troubling. But when the subject is the extreme and indeed life-threatening level of poverty captured in Migrant Mother, I think one expects the kind of strictly honest document envisioned by Stryker. Still, this minor detail of the retouching aside, the photo obviously expressed a powerful truth that resonated with people. And yet, for all the acclaim the photo received, the identity of its subject was unknown until 1978, when the Associated Press reported that the woman's name was Florence Owens Thompson. Reportedly, Thompson had felt exploited as the photograph began to circulate widely when she was never compensated, and even threatened to sue those who published it. But Thompson dropped such claims toward the end of her life, when she and her children received thousands to help cover her medical bills from people who had been affected by Migrant Mother over the years. Interestingly, the revelation of Thompson's name brought with it another revelation. Though everyone, including Lange, had long assumed that Thompson was of white European ancestry, in reality she was Cherokee. As historian Sarah Hermanson Meister points out, though Lange herself expressed equitable concern for all migrant workers, including those of color, given the wide prevalence of racial biases at the time, one has to wonder if the photo would have become as popular and iconic among broad swaths of the American public if Thompson's native ancestry were known. I think it's an important question to consider, especially in our present moment when we're seeing migrants of color routinely harassed, arrested, and even killed by immigrations and customs enforcement. Social justice photography like Lange's is important, crucial even. I think the power of this kind of photography lies in the way that it confronts us with the kind of difficult images of human suffering that we'd all prefer not to have to see. And yet, seeing the suffering is only the beginning. It is now, as it was in Lange's time, what those of us who have seen the unimaginable decide to do about it that matters the most. Thanks so much for joining me on this one. As always, I hope you learned something new, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.